I'd like to welcome Tyrone Smith, principal agent and owner of the Smith Firm Agency. Am I saying that right, Tyrone?
You are saying it correctly. You are saying it correctly. Good morning to you, Stacy.
You too. Good morning. And it's so great to meet you. I want to take a moment because you and I kind of talked off camera for a bit, but I want you to share with all of the other agents that Agentero works with. Share a bit about your story, and now tell me how Smith Firm Agency was founded and kind of what your passion and your mission has been.
It started from years of being just a life agent. I was working with another company for several years, and I just had an ambition to own my own agency and started that journey of pursuing owning my own agency. Now, I would certainly say that my journey is definitely going to be the exception and not the rule because of some interesting details. So I'll start by saying I had sales and marketing experience for about 28 years. And so when I got into insurance, I wasn't nervous. I had a lot of energy. I was very ambitious. And I did all of the self-study, which a lot of the agents do. But I did the self-study, got the life and health, started working, and then started to apply a lot of my sales and marketing. Now, what was interesting is how social media really kind of boomed over this last decade or 2 decades, how things have happened. And so I had to learn a new industry of being a life agent and then take on the daunting task of now realizing that marketing is not what it used to be. And a lot of the traditional mannerisms that we use are now more antiquated. And if you are not becoming more social media versed and using it to your advantage, you are going to have a very, very tough road. So I've gone that way. And then the Smith firm really came about with the ambition of going with another insurance company. And as I got right to the end of becoming a captive insurance agency with them, I found out some things that I wasn't happy with. And so, like a lot of things in my life, whenever things don't go my way, I don't stop. I look for the exit and I look for the forward. I don't ever look for a reason or excuse. I'm always looking for the forward to continue what I'm trying to do. Came across Agentero, and when I came across Agentero, I found that it had everything that I needed at the time, and I said, "This is going to be perfect." And I dove right in. Um, Developed the Smith firm. I also own and operate my own graphic company. So a lot of the things that we do, I'm able to in-house all of it instead of having to pay for another advertising company or a graphic company to do a lot of that stuff. So our website, I'm proud to say that it's exclusively ours, and I'm also proud to say that along with all of that wonderful experience that I am actually the senior designer and the web designer for the company. And so I literally designed that website myself from scratch. And I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted it to look like. I knew what the function of it needed to be. Um, as an agent, every agent is going to be required to wear many hats. And it's going to become a challenge at times because you're going to have to parlay between the hats interchangeably throughout the day. So you're going to be the principal agent, the owner, then you're going to be the salesperson, then you're going to be the marketing person, then you may have to be the customer service person. Then you may have to be the counselor when you talk to some of your clients. And then with the marketing part, you're going to have your hands involved in it because the identity of your agency has everything to do with what you think and how you feel and what you wanted to produce. And so your hands are going to be very involved. You may not necessarily have the skill to design or to craft a lot of the marketing, but the conceptualization of your ideas are very much a part of it, and you've got to be involved in that. So you're going to wear multiple amount of hats, and it's got to be interchangeable. But when you've been in sales for quite a long time, and I've had the privilege of being a business owner, that just comes along with the territory.
Wow. I love it. It's definitely a unique story that you have, because not all agents would want to tackle what you've tackled yourself. So
Sure.
I applaud you for that.
But I will say, though, the root of it all is passion. You have to have a very deep passion for it all. Even with running the agency, talking with the clients, you have to have a passion. Now, I have a tagline that I use, and I cross-pollinate this tagline in the entirety of my whole life. I'm going to share it with those who want to use it, and I'm hoping that it'll be the driving force of your life and your ambition. And this is the tagline: hungry people don't wait to be fed. Hungry people don't wait to be fed. Because if you're really hungry, you're never going to sit back and wait for somebody to feed you anything. Your hunger is going to push you to go satisfy your hunger. And you are the only person who knows the sum total of that hunger. And if you wait for somebody, even if somebody were to come along and feed you, what you may find out is what they're feeding you is either A, inadequate, B, not palatable, or C, it's not enough. And so you walk away still hungry. But if you satisfy your hunger, you're going to find yourself becoming satisfied. So I use that as the model of everything that I do. And that's why my hands are in everything that I do. And so in a minute, we'll talk about best practices in hiring and things like that. But I just wanted to put that out there to those agents that'll watch this, to make them understand you gotta ask yourself, how hungry are you? How hungry are you? Because once you find out how hungry you are, there is where you're going to find the level of success that you're looking for with your agency.
I could listen to you all day. I just love your passion. And I love your message, because it is right on completely.
Thank you. You know, we've had failures, and no one likes to fail. You know, no one likes to fail. But having lived just a few 24 hours of life, I found out that failure is not bad.
You learn from
it's
it.
not bad. Now, there's a difference in the definition between failing and failure. Failing is saying that, okay, I've tried something, it didn't work, but I have not stopped. Failure is the end of it all. So I would just say to everyone, you got to pick between two punctuation marks. You are either a period or you're a comma. And if you are a comma, you can continue. Regardless of whatever happened, you can continue. But if you're a period, you stopped. You stop growth, you stop thinking, you stop having energy to do whatever you're going to do. And so we're coming to the end of the year. I think when this comes out, we're at the beginning of the year. We're now crossing over into 2023. The most beautiful thing that you're going to have to your advantage is a reset. You can start all over. Whatever 2022 was not, you can bank it and start again and keep moving and keep dreaming and keep light the passion of what you're going to do. Reignite it again. No one ever said that the initial flame of your passion had to be what it was now. You can change it. Turn it up higher. What do you have to lose? If you shoot for the moon and land on the stars, are you mad? Are you upset? Are you still in a higher place than where you were? Of course you are. So go after it. Let that hunger push you as far as you can. And don't let anybody try to define your hunger, because only you know the magnitude of your hunger.
Sure. It's just very wise words. I bring it back to, we talked about people resetting. And I know that a lot of agents that, are still kind of getting around the whole concept of a digital agency and what that means. And you have understood that as an agent, you can't stay the same. You can't just be status quo. You've got to kind of learn to adapt and adjust and change as things in the industry as a whole change. So share with me a little bit about, how many agents do you have? What is it that you guys decided to do when you decided to become a digital agency? Other than, obviously, we talked about the marketing and you having your hands in everything, but specific to resources and systems. Kind of share that with me.
Great question. So started with 4, went down to 1, back up to 3, all in this process. Now, those principal agents, I'm going to share something with you about best practices of hiring and trying to maintain agents or stopping the churn, that revolving door of agents going in and out. And this is another life lesson. And I hope that what I'm getting ready to say is really going to help somebody, because I promise you, it really helped me many years ago, and it is still helping me right now. You cannot, under any circumstances, want more for the person you're hiring than they want for themselves. And you have to be careful that in the interview process, you are interviewing them, not interviewing you. Now, let me tell you what I mean when I say that. Because you are ineptly a great salesperson, which is how you got to where you are, the danger of interviewing is you wind up selling than interviewing. And in selling, the principle of selling is that you're not necessarily selling the product, you're selling yourself. So the danger in the interview is you sell yourself and you hire yourself, only to discover that the individual you hired, that is vicariously you, doesn't fit what you want, because in the interview, you sold you. That's why it sounded so good. That's why you smiled and you enjoyed it so much. And it didn't really seem like it was much to them. And then it's like, they said a few things that hit trigger points and you hired them. You have to be very careful in the interview and listen. Let them talk. If whoever you're interviewing does not talk more than you, they're not the right person. They're not it. They're not it. Because in the interview, you want to be sold as the principal agent and or the hiring manager. You want to be sold. You don't want to sell yourself. The only thing that you want to do is you want to share the philosophy of the business. You want them to understand the vision of the business. You want them to see the scope of the business, and then sit back and let them talk. Don't say anything. Resist talking, because the more you talk, you are going to sell yourself. So we've gone up and down. Now, here's another thing in the hiring. Life changes, things change. Where they were in the initial part of the hiring has changed. And if it does change, that is not necessarily an indictment on your business. That's not an indictment on you. Things are changing. The economy is changing. We are watching things playing out right before our eyes. Some of these things in our lifetime, these are first. So there is no reference point for it. There is nobody that you can consult to get wisdom in knowing how to handle certain things. This is new. And because it's new, give yourself enough room to fail. Give yourself enough room, because these are firsts. And if this is your first agency, you're going to have many firsts. Either document them, remember them, make note of them, so that you can learn from them. People are going to come and go. There are so many different reasons why people do what they do. But I will tell you this: incentivizing what you have will gain a more retentive agent to your business. And here's what I mean by that. And this is another good point. I hope you all listen to this. Money may not be the sum total of what's going to make them stay. And we tend to think that that money piece is the thing, but not everybody it's not about money. Especially for me, I'm grateful to have made money, but my time is more valuable. So if you can allow me to do what I do and give me more time, your business becomes more attractive to me. Like are they coming into an office? How about incentivizing that if they hit certain thresholds that they can work from home? You have to think out of the box. The traditional way of the corporate model has changed. It has totally changed. As a matter of fact, if you go out there and you Google what is or who is the best company to work for in 2022, you will find at the top of the food chain, it's Google. And the reason why it's Google is because their whole methodology of the infrastructure of their office ain't nothing like you've ever seen. I've never seen it. I mean, when you got people taking naps in the middle of the day, I've never, I've never, you walk in any company and somebody's taking a nap, the boss is going to lose it. They're going to lose it. But what is interesting is that in that model, it has produced a better worker for the business. But you got to look at the dynamic of what you're trying to do. And you got to know what's going to fit you and what may not fit you. What is your goal? What is your ambition versus someone else? And be careful when you look across the street, because when you look across the street, the image of what you see over there may not fit what you have. So you got to really take this time in the beginning of the year and re-identify yourself with your philosophy of business. Be sure about what you want. Know that in your hiring, set some goals on what do you want. Define the type of agent that you want that's going to fit. And maybe some of your agents, you may have to split things up. We have life and health, we have property and casualty. So I quickly realized that, you know what? All of my agents will not cross-pollinate. Some I'm going to have exclusively to life. Some I'm going to exclusively have to property and casualty. And you gotta really ask yourself, will they do everything or will they do some things and do them well? So you gotta focus in on that. And then the other thing too, in your question, is also as you're growing your business, be careful. Make sure that you're relevant. Make sure you're relevant. Make sure you're not pigeon-toed into a box to the philosophy of what you're trying to do. Your business is a people business. You are in the people business. You're not in the product business. You are in the people business. You will do better when you talk to more people. The more people you talk to, the better the opportunities will come. And then there are certain matrices and marketing tools that you can use that you can really put yourself in front of a lot of people. And I'll say this because I know, because I can almost hear some agents thinking, I can hear the tumblers turning. So what lead source are you using to generate the leads to produce what you're doing? Well, guess what? I'm not. Now, again, I have certain advantages because of my community involvement and some other things that I do, that I can do what I do. And I am also very savvy to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So I know how to market. I know how to market. Now, remember, and for those that may chime in, you may want to go back to the beginning of this interview, because in the beginning of the interview, I said I own a graphic company. So I have an advantage that many people don't have. You will have to invest in good graphics. Do not, under no circumstance, make yourself believe that you can do old paper style flyers that we used to do years ago and think that you're going to produce the type of numbers and get in front of the amount of people that you're going to get in front of, because you're not. We are in a very technologically advanced age, probably the most advanced that we have ever been in. The levels of marketing and tools that we have is far more than what we have ever experienced. You must, at some point, you either must become versed to it or you're going to have to invest in it. If you're not investing in the marketing of your business, I could quickly tell you, if I came in and assessed your business, I could quickly tell you where you're failing. If I take a look at your marketing, I can find out in 5 minutes. If I don't see you in some level of social media presence, you're failing. If you're not in the community of some sort, if they don't know who you are, you're failing. And God forbid, if you've not even gone through your family yet, and your family doesn't know what and who you are, okay, we're gonna have to just start all over. We're just gonna scratch the whole thing, and we're going to start all over.
Yes, everything that you said. Yes, yes, yes. It's interesting because even in 2022, you've got folks that are trying to do it the traditional way that it's always been done. And so we talked a little bit about your hiring practice. We talked about your marketing, and your website in particular is very unique. Do you want to touch on that? Kind of why you designed your site the way that you did? Because it's a bit different than others that I've seen.
It is different. One, because I understand when you're drawing people to site, there's a lot that goes into it. I'm grateful for Google Analytics, which is Google offers, and this is really for anyone that has a Gmail account. Many people don't know this, but Google Analytics allows you to tie the analytics of when a person comes to your site, so you can study numbers. Now, again, I'm the exception. So you've already heard me where I'm talking from about 5 different hats. Now, I'm in the early stages. I'm in the early stages. In the early stages, and I'm speaking to the agent owner, in the early stages, you will wear multiple hats. Your job is to work yourself out of the hat.
Yes.
That's your job. You will know that you're succeeding when you're not wearing that hat anymore. That's when you know you're succeeding. The way I built the site based upon certain matrices that are used to determine what is going to capture the attention of the viewer. Number one, it has to have a certain level of activity. It has to be easy on the eye. It has to be easy navigational. And it has to get me to where I'm going quickly, because everything now is moving very exponentially. Very. Timing is everything. The average person that will be on your site is about 2 minutes and 15 seconds, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Not a lot of time. But let me tell you why. Because your cellular phone is not a phone, it's a computer. So everything that they're accessing is typically done on computer. I pull the analytics of people that come to my site. 95% of the people that come to my site are on their phone. I'm only getting about 3% of people that are on a desktop, which means that, number one, if your graphic designer builds the site and it only works, or its functioning is only adaptable to a desktop, you're going to have to recreate that. You're going to have to recreate it. It has to be phone friendly. It has to be phone navigational, and it has to quickly get them to where they want to get to. In both life and property and casualty, The timing to the quote is essential. If I can get an individual to put in their data and I gather all logistics for a quote in less than 2 minutes, I'm winning. I'm winning.
And I go one
they're only
step
going
further. Sorry to
Go ahead.
interrupt.
Go
I
ahead.
go one step further. Are you able to get them quoted? Not just
Absolutely.
gather the information.
Oh my, yes.
Let's talk about the quote. How
Well,
quickly,
listen.
because if people are on their phone, they want it, and we're talking about the demand generation, right? We're talking about people who want it yesterday, and the Netflix people who want to skip through commercials. So they want it quickly and they want it now. So let's go
Well,
there.
that's great. See, Agentero provided that for us. So Agentero's platform, and I'm grateful for what they've done. And I'm also grateful for how they are continuing to tweak the back office to make it not only more suitable for the agents, but also making it quick so that they can navigate through and quote quickly. Quoting quickly is the win. So for those that are Agentero agents, you must become very familiar with your back office. You have to. It is the sum total of how you're going to do what you do. If you are still trying to figure it out and you've already had it for some time, you're not maximizing it. You're not. Agentero has made it easy that when you go into the back office and you go to the agencies that you're connected to, the insurance companies you're connected to, you can literally go right to the sites right from the back office, which is very convenient because quoting is very quick. When I can literally tell you, and for those that would like to test my theory, if you're watching this video and just to test it, you can go to my site, www.smithfirm.agency. You can go to the agency page. When you go, whether it's business, whether it's life, whether it's auto, whatever you're looking for, you click the button, you're going to look around because you're going to be attracted to a lot of what you see. Now, I'm big on attraction and presentation, and I like fashion. And so when you understand presentation, you know you got to capture the eye. It's like dating, isn't it, Stacey? It's like dating. I mean, if you're not attractive, how do you expect me to talk to you? You got to be attractive. If you're not attractive, I'm not having a conversation. Well, your site has to be attractive. The attraction leads them somewhere. Then they click a button. Then they click another button. And next thing you know, they're quoting. Our quote form, they can go through it. It takes less than 2 minutes to gather all the data. When they submit it, I immediately get it in my email. And this is for those of you that want to test it. I will get it. The very first thing we do, Stacey, when we receive the quote, we immediately touch the client. Immediately. Email, text, and phone. And you may say, why are you doing that? Because technology's not perfect. If you send a text message, there's no guarantee that they got it. If you send an email, there's no guarantee that they got it. If you call, there's no guarantee, because I've gotten calls and people say, I called you, and I say, no, you didn't. I never got it. So you can do all three. I would rather for them to receive all three than to receive none. And once you do that,
I heard a statistic yesterday that it was very interesting. I don't remember exactly the number, but they talked about the majority of agencies. I think it was like 90% of agencies take 3 days to respond to clients.
You're losing.
And so I think it was Bradley Flowers that said that, a good friend of mine. And he was talking about if he could just be a little better than most, like, one day or a couple, if you could do hours, you are phenomenal in the client's eyes. So imagine what you're able to do with the technology, and you're able to shorten that time frame to even, just an hour. But I agree with you. being able to touch them in multiple points makes a difference.
You have to touch them immediately. Even if you're not able to quote them immediately, you have to at least acknowledge that the process that they went through to submit the quote has reached where it needed to reach, and you're now working on it. You just need to let them know that I thank you. This is typically how it works. Thank you for choosing the Smith Firm and Agency. We are delighted that you chose us as an opportunity to serve you. We are working on your quote right now. Very simple, not hard, but you got to touch them. And this is another philosophy, and I learned this many years ago. You have to treat every client like there is no other, like you will get no other. If you treat the one like they are the only one, it is very possible that the one will lead to another one. Referral in an age of great marketing is still the best marketing that you will ever experience.
Yes, and I would say renewals. It makes a huge difference in renewals when people can truly connect with you. What is your renewal rate? Do you know it off the top of your head? I'm sure that you do.
We haven't even gotten to our first leg of renewals just yet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But
I'd be interested to see because it makes a difference.
I can tell you right now, my renewal is going to be very high. And I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying it arrogantly, but I'm saying it because of the methodology that I use to write policies, in particular for property and casualty. If you're writing a car and you're not reaching for the home, okay, we're going to have to change your whole salesmanship. We have to change it because getting the home, really, it is much easier to get the home than it is the car. Much easier. Most people, homeowner insurance were acquired at the time that they actually got the mortgage for their houses. I've met clients, Stacy, that did not even know what their homeowner's insurance was for. They didn't even know. So when I engaged in that conversation, and this is a true story, I had a client that at the time that I talked to him, we talked about car. He had 2 cars. When I got in the conversation about his homeowner's insurance, and I used a story of my own situation where my washer and dryer went up, he responded, "Are you telling me that I didn't have to go buy a new washer and dryer? I could have used my homeowner's insurance?" And in my mind, I was thinking, I thought 2 things. Wow, I couldn't believe that he didn't know that. And B, you're sold. You're sold. You're sold. I knew I had him.
And the beauty of that is you told him a story. And we go back to marketing, and marketing is all about storytelling. And it may be one long story that you've talked about, and you told him your personal story about, your washing machine and all of that kind of stuff. And it was like a light bulb moment. But when you go back to your social media and your sales and tying everything together with your site, everything tells a story. And it might be a little clip of the story. And then the next is another clip. And then you've got another clip. But that's the beauty of what you've done with your agency is you're building it as a marketing machine so that it just kind of goes through the process, and someone comes in, they learn a little bit more, you're educating them along the way, you've gotten their quote, it was quick, you made sure that you touched them on multiple occasions. Now you've got their business, you've cross-sold them on additional business, and then you're asking for the referral because guess what? You've done a great job on the front end. So it's a really great system that you built there.
I mean, you literally walk through our sales process. What you just said, that is the entirety of our sales process. We bank ourselves in providing exceptional customer service. I know how we're able to touch people, and I know how to pull on their heartstring. If you meet a need, you should never be afraid to ask for a referral. If you meet a need, you should never be afraid to ask for a referral, because in almost every case, if you meet the need, they're going to want to tell somebody anyway. But you emphasizing it just makes them do it right away. And don't even be afraid to get the information while they're on the phone, while you're in the email chat or the text message chat. Don't be afraid. Um, be confident in the product, the brand of the agency that you have. Be confident about it, because if you're not, how are you expecting anybody else to be? No one's going to have confidence in you without you having confidence in yourself. So please, by all means, and I'll give a free nugget. This is something that we do when we write a policy. Within that week, we will go to our social media page. I have a Smith Firm and Agency page. I actually call it the Insurance Guy, because I do a multiplicity of things. We'll do videos. We'll talk about the reason for life insurance. We'll talk about car insurance. We'll talk about what's going on. Why are rates going up? What's that all about? But here's one thing that we do. When we write a policy, Stacy, within that week or so, we will go to the page and we will write out what actually happened. Sometimes we actually get the consent from the client to use their literal name and scenario without account numbers and things like that. We even take the snapshot of the policy that was written. We will block out the account numbers so that way the privacy of our clients will remain, but we put it out there. I cannot tell you how many people we were able to get just from that, because in this age we're living in, seeing is definitely believing. So when you post, client A was with this particular insurance company and they were paying $450, and through the Smith firm, we were able to bring them from $450 down to $229 and some change. And we showed that to them in the screenshot. Oh, well, it's hard to not believe it. And then it even makes it better when that client in the comment section comments and says, yes, this did happen. Yes, you need to join the Smith firm, and Tyrone and his team were spectacular. That's free marketing. That's free. You didn't have to pay for that. That's easy. And everyone should do that. That's really easy. And you could do that from your personal page. You can establish a business page, whatever you like, but you should do that. That's easy.
You're speaking my language, Tyrone. we're very much in sync. I could talk to you all day. I really could. And after this, I'll chat with you some more. But I did want to ask one closing thing. Is there anything with your just with Agentero in particular, is there anything with the markets or the system or what you've been using it for that you feel it needs something else, or is it missing anything?
I think the only thing, and it may not necessarily be in their control, is appointment turnaround. Trying to get the appointment so that we can do, there's a number of insurance companies that are shown, but at times you're not able to get appointed either because it's not available in your state. And then sometimes the turnaround processes are just a little bit longer than what you may be expecting. And again, and I want to be clear for anyone that's watching this, that may not necessarily be an Agentero issue. I think a lot of times the prerequisites of the insurance company dictates the turnaround of appointment. So Agentero themselves are under the power of those insurance companies. So be patient. I do know that they are constantly tweaking and refining the processes to make a very easy process to how things are being done. And sometimes you gotta give people some room to grow. And I'm saying that to the Agentero model, but I'm also saying it to your specific agencies as well. Those of you that are watching this, you're growing. So there are a lot of your systems and your processes that you're tweaking. The best thing to do is to let those people that are your clients, your prospective clients, or even your team, always let them know that we're growing, we're changing, we're evolving. And with evolution, sometimes it doesn't always go the way you want it to go, but just be
You'll have growing
patient.
pains.
Yeah, just be patient. You're gonna make it. Um, and when you have some obstacles, like for me, I at this point I don't have many, but that's also because of my thinking. I don't look at obstacle like everyone else looks at obstacle. Before I put the pressure or the blame or the accountability on the other, I always look at myself to see, but what could I do to make it better? Before I even address the other party, I'm always looking at myself to see, all right, what are we doing? What are we doing? Can we do better? Because sometimes what you are putting pressure on someone else, number one, are you going to put that pressure on yourself? And number two, are you really going to the extreme to make sure that you can do it better before you ask someone else to do it better?
Agreed. My daddy was a wise man, and he's no longer with us, but he used to tell me all the time, when you're pointing at somebody else, three fingers are pointing back to you.
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
always
Indeed.
look at yourself and
Always
check
look at
yourself
yourself.
first.
Always
Yeah.
look at yourself. Some things are out of your control. They are. But even those things that are out of your control, go as far as your influence of control can go. And when you cross that bridge or get to that bridge where it is out of your hands, make your voice known. Make your voice known. But be careful in how you make your voice heard and known, because it's always how you say it, not necessarily what you say.
Yes. And we're coming up on our time frame, but I do want to ask you a couple of quick questions. What agency management system or are you using an agency management system
I
in
am not.
addition to Agentero? Okay. And then additionally, any other tech resources that you use in conjunction with Agentero? Are you utilizing their email campaigns? What part of Agentero do you mostly use?
Well, I had a lot of it before I came to Agentero. So, but I would tell a lot of the prospective agents, use all the tools that they have, because they have some, I mean, some really, really great tools. And that's what I was saying earlier in the interview. Become familiar with that back office, because there is a lot of stuff. I don't use a lot of the marketing stuff because I can produce my own, but they have it there. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of the system that they have for emailing information, and commit to it. Take an hour, commit to it. It's going to produce. No plant will ever grow if you've never planted a seed. You've got to plant the seed and be patient and let it grow. Water it, let it grow. Use the back office. Become familiar with it. Take some time. Get your people familiar with it. If you have people that are working for you, get your people familiar with it, because there's a lot of good things in that back office that's going to help your agency grow.
Thank you. And lastly, which carriers do you mostly use? Which ones are your favorite?
Wow. Well, Branch is absolutely my go-to. And ironically, I'm actually a client as well, and I'm using it right now, ironically, because I was in a very nasty accident last Tuesday, and I wound up calling Branch and letting them know that, this is what happened. And unfortunately, my beautiful black BMW 740E is total. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
what I have found out is that Branch, by far, and I've had the bigger companies, I'm going to refrain from using them in name, but I will just say I've had bigger companies in name. But what I have found in the customer service with Branch has been absolutely impeccable. And I'm big on customer service. And they did not know that I was an agent.
That's a beautiful thing, because now you've got your story that you can share. You're not just talking about a carrier. You can actually say, hey, I'm actually a client. And guess what?
I'm a client. And I've taken down all their names. And I told them I'm going to write a letter to corporate America, to their corporate office, to let them know that if this is the customer service that you are producing, those bigger companies had better look out because they are very, very good. So branch is our number one. We use Next. We are using Ethos. We use there's another one that we used recently. We just wrote a business policy with them, but it wasn't Next. Who was it? I will tell you in a second here.
You're fine.
We use, let's see here. We use Elephant as well. Coterie.
Coterie, yes.
We wrote with them for the very first time. So, but basically Branch, Next, we've quoted some things through Hippo. We've quoted and binded Coterie, and I'm looking to do some things with Pi because they've sent some things to me recently, and I'm looking to use them. But I would tell all agents, you've got a whole umbrella of different companies, but you're gonna have your go-to. You're gonna have your go-to. Your go-tos are the ones that you're going to use the most often. Become most familiar with those and become familiar with the other ones. But the one that you're going to use the most, you got to know it like the back of your hand. And you got to be able to quote people very, very quickly. The quicker you can quote, the quicker you're going to buy. And you're going to get to referral.
Good information. I will close with this. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you, Tyrone.
You are so kind. Thank you.
I've learned a lot, and I think that I could listen to you for hours, like I said.
You are too kind. Thank you.
Owner of the Smith Firm Agent.